Politics, cultural exchange, social life and ecological issues. These are only few areas where international organizations implement their projects. They cooperate with public and private partners, and preserving peace for future generation is their principal goal. How do they arrange their work? What role is given to Kazakhstani initiatives? You'll find more on this in Kazakhstan International Vectors. It was an operational need to create the Eurasian Cultural Alliance. Cultural projects are very vivid, they always need to be in progress. Footprints and fingerprints, depictions of animals, people and deities. These petroglyphs not only reflect the life of our prehistoric ancestors. Art critics also characterize them as the first manifestation of human's artistic nature. Examples of this type of art can be found in different parts of the planet. Among the most ancient are the rock prints in Norwegian Alta, discovered in 1970s and dated approximately by 4200 BC. Now they are under UNESCO protection. Art has been progressing along with humankind development, antiquity, classics and Gothics. Each of these periods has its own particularities. The majority of outstanding artists, sculptors and architects were born in Europe. For instance, prominent Spaniard Pablo Picasso is the founder of Cubism. One of New York museums has estimated that during his life, the author has created about 20,000 works and gave birth to a great many of imitators. The middle of the 20th century. At that time, advertising both has become the engine of trade and added a certain style to art. Commercialization in the US gave rise to Andy Warhol, one of the most famous and expensive masters of modern times. In 1960s, he created his first artwork from Coca-Cola series and later the well-known Campbell soup can. In 2013, the total sum of the artist's sold works exceeded $427 million. Being a regular participant of exhibitions and biennials is a significant event for any artist. In addition, such events make the author more famous, which in its turn raises the price of his works. Thus, according to an influential American portal artprice.com, Jeff Koons was recognized as one of the most expensive living artists. A couple of years ago, his orange balloon dog was sold at Christie's for $58 million. The statistical findings show that currently the number of artists living on Earth is close to 1.5 million people. Only in New York there are 300,000 officially registered painters and sculptors. New young talents continue to appear almost every year. What are creative persons inspired by, and does art overproduction threaten the world? Life in a large city is often accompanied by stresses and neurotic disorders, such as the conclusion of world scientists. As early as in 1965, British doctors have started observing the life of residents of some densely populated London blocks. Several years later, it was found out that the intensity of lifestyle there directly depended on the frequency of cases of maniac depressive psychosis and major neurotic disorders. Residents of large urban centers are seeking for new ways of alleviating stress, as specialists conclude. Some people prefer physical exercises in gyms, health-improving yoga, or just jogging. Creative persons give preference to art therapies. It is a proven fact that the influence of art upon humans' mental state has been known since ancient times. Güzel Musayeva also agrees with that. Earlier, she drew pictures for herself, but a year ago decided to inspire other people with her art and therefore help them to relax. Think that people come here to have a rest. They need a sort of art therapy. Being office workers or accountants, they have a chance to forget about various figures, work and fuss and just create some beautiful things. Paints, brushes, canvas and easels, all these things are available for Güzel's students. One lesson lasts only 2 hours. Nevertheless, it is enough to get rid of stress and create a real masterpiece. Her studio is usually visited by entire families. Once having plunged into the world of paints, the majority of people return there again, the artist says. It often happens that we are visited by the groups of employees of one and the same company. Therefore, we provide team-building events. I think that people are quite tired of sitting somewhere in restaurants, eating, and even singing karaoke may have become boring. Instead of that, they try to use our services. Professional artists do not come here. Financial experts, economists, and even doctors soothe away their fatigue by means of art. Gazelle does not conceal that adopts practices of foreign colleagues in her work. Indeed, studios like this have long been functioning all over the world. There is something special in our studio. Our pictures are not the same as in European studios. We make them more complex. Why? Because our people are more keen to sweat over something. As a result, our pictures are more complex and have a deep meaning. In addition, we create here a very friendly environment, which we are proud of. Since recently, international exhibitions are becoming principal places of interest of urban centers, art specialists conclude. Along with hundreds of tourists, fashionable vernissages and biennales also attract large amounts of money. For instance, statistics say that the Louvre in Paris is annually attended by 8.5 million people. In the meantime, the number of visitors of the British Museum in London reaches 6 million. Experts characterize such an attention towards the cultural side of tourism as one of modern trends of a contemporary traveler. A major and high-quality initiative cannot remain unnoticed because cultural projects are very vivid and should be always in movement, in progress. The popularity of the world-known museums and exhibitions halls is evident. There we can find works of prominent artists and, in fact, touch the history. However, in recent years, the modern art style is attracting more and more attention. Among others, it can be represented by the urban art of graffiti, forged iron jungles, or just by some abstract figures from the author. Frequently, this kind of art is being actively popularized by public associations. Public Association Eurasian Cultural Alliance is a non-profit organization founded in 2011 in the city of Almaty. The main purpose of the organization is the modernization of Kazakhstan's socio-cultural sphere and the establishment of the conglomerate able to realize the value of society projects both in the country and abroad. The Eurasian Cultural Alliance gives modern painters a possibility to show their worth not only here in Kazakhstan, but at the international exhibitions as well. The annual festival Artbat Fest is the largest and most well-known project of the Eurasian Cultural Alliance. According to the representatives of the organization, besides local urban residents, it is also interesting for foreign visitors. The project's supervisors annually invite a number of famous artists from different countries to participate in the event. The city administration usually plays the role of the main sponsor. Along with that, we are seeking for private investors and sponsors. We often get the assistance from European organizations, the British Council, the French Cultural Alliance, the Goethe Institute, and some private organizations. Within the framework of the project, various excursions are provided for those who wish to know and understand better the creative work of artists and sculptors. And according to representatives of the Eurasian Cultural Alliance, it is very important that these excursions would be conducted by professional art critics who could really immerse visitors into the essence of art. When modern honored art workers visit Kazakhstan, be they supervisors, art critics or artists, each time they pursue the same goals, not just to know more about the city or choose the location for their projects, but also to conduct master classes and lectures which are always successful. Events like Artbat Fest have not only an aesthetic but also applicable effect, representatives of the organization say. Volunteering is one of the examples. Each year the festival gathers dozens of people wishing to help in the event planning and communicate with artists. Last year, the role of a nice bonus from the organizers of the festival was played by the graffiti of British artist known as Sick Boy. Almaty city officials have met the creator's ambitions, given a wall of one of the city flats blocks as a canvas. Specialists note that Arbat Fest is by no means of lower quality than other international projects. The festival is always accompanied by dance shows and performances of musical bands, which make this event more attractive. The remarkable fact is that the very first such festival has made it necessary to create the entire organization, which has been promoting artists of Central Asia and Europe for many years. In the middle of 1960s, the streets of Philadelphia were bristling with intricate inscriptions in the form of names and digits, which were later called tags. In 1968, a teenager from New York has attracted reporters with his tag. Soon, the New York Times has published a small article under the name Techie 183. Graffiti of those times was looking like primitive pictograms resembling stars, circles or arrows, which were regarded by local authorities as vandalism. Nowadays, street art implies not only drawings on walls and buildings, but posters, video projections and, first of all, urban art installations. Once after seeing these works in Brussels, Igor Slutsky decided to make people of Kazakhstan familiar with this type of art. In 2010, the first festival of modern art was held in Almaty. It has united painters, sculptors, photographers, designers, musicians and representatives of the most progressive movements and trends. In the very beginning, it was a modern art festival, Arbat Fest. Then we initiated other projects and attracted attention of other people. So we have created a reason for further active developments. After the first two festivals, their organizers realized the necessity of uniting such events by a common concept and make them headed by one and the same supervisor. Therefore, they came to the conclusion to create the Eurasian Cultural Alliance, the organization which attracted the attention of international experts from the first month of its work. This is an organization which establishes the dialogue between the global cultural society and Kazakhstani cultural society. Many major and important projects have been implemented since the foundation of the Cultural Alliance. One of them was realized in Russian city of Perm. It is still warmly remembered by its participants. The cultural mass event was held right in the city center and implied the construction of the entire festival town. We rendered our assistance and lent moral support to artists who has been living and working there for 1 month. In general, we organized a very interesting Kazakhstani public art project in the territory of that festival town. Currently, the principal goal of the Eurasian Cultural Alliance is to acquaint Kazakhstani viewers with the achievements of the world art. The organization's representatives deliver the exhibits from foreign countries and at the same time help local artists to organize private viewings abroad. The main thing here is to keep the process of information exchange going on, specialists say. The Eurasian Cultural Alliance actively supports the development of the modern art in the whole territory of Central Asia. Initially, the association specialized only on holding of small exhibitions and helped the beginning artists. Today, the organization continues expanding its activities and already cooperates with foreign partners and holds major exhibitions which are expected to become known worldwide. For example, the project is to be realized in Moscow in Art Wing Gallery. They are our close friends who also organize exhibitions of Russian and Ukrainian artists during local festivals. Mystery, talent and depiction of social problems by means of paint sprayers. One of the most mysterious artists of today, Banksy, is a master of modern street art. He began his career in 1990s from the ordinary inscriptions on walls. However, later, the skills and ideas of his works attracted the attention of both large public and police. A record price of Banksy's artworks was set in 2008 when his painting Pest Control was sold at an auction almost at $2 million. In October 2013, Banksy has organized his personal exhibition right in the streets of New York City by pleasing local residents with at least one painted wall per day.